everybody. Welcome to Mary Walter Radio. If you're joining me live, well, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I have some M&Ms. I'm eating M&Ms. Sorry. Peanut M&Ms. That was my dessert tonight. I had fresh peach. So, excuse me for eating M&Ms. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Please like, please subscribe. If you have not done so already, please do that. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can always get the audio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker after the event. Just programming note, tomorrow I'm in for David Webb, 9 a.m. to noon. And then I'm back on a PHT from 3 to 6. And then Thursday and Friday, I'm doing nothing. Thursday morning at 9:30, I'm on with Chris Salcedo on his radio show, which is also video, so I have to do hair and makeup again. That's Thursday. And then we're going on vacation. So you know what that entails. If you've been following me, you know, when you live at the shore, you have lots of nieces and nephews who volunteer to come watch your house for you while you're on vacation. So I have to, excuse me, not only shop for vacation, but I have to shop for them for food and stuff and get the house ready. So I have all that to do. So also, I will not be doing a podcast next Tuesday night since will have a house full of people up on vacation while we're on vacation. There's a whole bunch of us going together. And so I will not be doing a live cast next Tuesday. But I will be doing some Newsmax hits from vacation. So I will be doing that as well. I'm glad I got water because now I'm choking on the peanut M&M. So, okay, all class this chick is. She's all class. Anyway, oh yeah, and I forgot to put it as different. I put my TV my TV background up. Sorry about that. We'll get a new one for August. Art has been cranking them out, so we're gonna pick a new art background for August. All right, so that's all of that. Let's bring our guest in. Oh, forgot to turn my phone off. Let's bring our guest in. Hello, Steve Redden. How are you?
Hello, fine. The next David Webb, since everyone listens to you and they just comment on how great you are every time you do a show.
You're so sweet.
Have you noticed?
Thank you. I'm good enough to fill in, but nobody wants to hire me. So the name of my book when I retire is going to be Always the Bridesmaid.
Or the best host that never was.
Yeah, exactly. But I figured always the bridesmaid, never the bride, you know, because that applies to a lot of different stuff.
Great. Even the Wilcow crowd loves you too.
Well, thank you. You're very sweet. So Steve, you know him. He's been on before. He's with Now Tax USA. He is the president and CEO of that organization. Where can they find you online? Where is Now Tax USA? It
is nowtaxusa.com. Nowtaxusa.com. And it's really a play on words. It's now it's supposed to be an N and a large O, so it says no tax. So
USA.
Matter of fact, David Webb calls me the no tax guy. So he got it right. And what's funny is Andrew Wilcow, he confuses me with fair tax, which is terrible. And every time he does it, I tweet him, "No, you got the wrong guys." Frustrating.
Let's do a quick roll call and then we're going to see who's here. And then I want to get into, you have a book that people can get for free. We want to talk about that. Want to talk about what's in it. Want to talk about your tax plan, but there's a lot of other things that we want to get into. Some of it we were talking about before we went on the air. And I said, no. We have to say this for the air because if you've ever worked in TV or radio, the time leading up to the segment, some of the best conversations are had. And then during the commercial breaks, some of the best conversations are had. And I said that when I was at MAL, my last full-time gig, I said, you know, we should really, if we could just stream what happens during the breaks, we would have the highest rated show ever because everybody wants to hear what you're talking about in the breaks as opposed to what you say on the air. And that's what our engineer pointed out, that we would be off the air in a month. So it wouldn't be very good. While Bill says, hello, Mary and Queen Mary and Steve, watching your back is here. Ron says 3 likes, but I'm the only one signed in. Hi, all. Well, keep the likes. We appreciate that. And let me see who's over on Rumble. While Bill, Art, Cindy, Ranger Sewer again. Yitzhak's over here. Joe is over here. Preemptive likes. How can you tell the difference in the 2 platform presentations before you settle into it? So he's talking about YouTube, and this seems to be an issue. When I go on YouTube and look, I see a little square that looks like a cell phone, like a little shape just like this, okay? An oblong shape. And it is next to one of them. And then there's nothing next to the one, because you have two choices. You have the horizontal and vertical. So if you don't want the horizontal and you want the vertical, there should be a little box like this next to the horizontal one to tip you off. And if you don't want that one, choose the other one. As far as I know, that's how it appears for me, Joe. So I don't know about you. Hey, David in South Carolina, Mangle, the whole PHT crowd is here. Heard you on for Kilmeade, on for tomorrow. I was on Kilmeade yesterday. I was in for Brian Kilmeade yesterday. And tomorrow is David Webb, 9 to noon, and then PHT, 3 to 6. And let's see, who is Denise? Oh, Denise is here. Hey, Denise, thank you so much. Denise is here. We've got a lot of PHT people here, which is awesome. Art, Cindy, thank you so much. So I'm so sorry, Mary, you already missed June 30th. That was your one miss for the year as far as podcasts go. That's because I was at Barrett's News Media Summit in New York. And that's why that happened. Sorry, I wasn't, and it's a good thing I was going to do it, because I got stuck on a train with a bunch of soccer people from the World Cup, and it was just train mayhem trying to get out of Manhattan. So I didn't get home till like 9:30 at night. It was crazy. I tried so hard to get out of the city and couldn't get out. Star Driver is driving. Hello, Star Driver. Yitzhak says, welcome, Mr. Redden. David, I will hire you for my campaign director as I run for the vacant Senate seat in South Carolina. Let's see. The queen is the female Andrew Wilkow and Rush. Yeah, I wish I got paid like the female Andrew Wilkow and Rush. All right, Yitzhak says, I started reading the screen roll on Steve's site. I need time to read it in depth. I have questions. So Yitzhak will be back. Yitzhak asks good questions.
Hey, let's get that free book.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Did you have Mitch McConnell attending Lindsey Graham's funeral on your bingo card? No, I did not. And I'm not going to believe it till I see it. Lucky is here. Communist Chinaman. Doug is here. Cod is here. Some new faces. This is awesome. All right, let's get into it. Tell us about your book. Let's talk about this book.
Oh, frustration. I'll show it. It's backwards, right? Is this backwards?
No, it's fine.
Oh,
it's perfect.
Yep. 6 ways and 30 days to save America. Out of frustration, I wrote basically some legislation that I think is long overdue. The first half of the book is my tax plan, which is the broad-based sales, broad base of all sales of services, goods, and transactions, which it goes into great detail. But more kind of importantly, I also go into things like the anti-omnibus bill. In other words, getting rid of the pork. I actually have a chapter on homesteading, opening up public lands to young couples, things like that. Fun stuff. Term limits, detailing out term limits, how to also eliminate the quid pro quo of the term limits concept and the revolving door. After you serve, you can go out and get a job in corporate America, making millions. So just kind of fun stuff. It's an easy, quick read, but it does have the actual legislation in there also in the legalistic terms. So that's it.
And how can people get it? How can they get the book?
Well, you go to nowtaxusa.com. It's free. Well, you can get it on Amazon too if you want to buy it. But I think I'm up to maybe 300 copies, which is not bad for where no advertisement. Again, I'm
right.
Pretty humble about this stuff, but I felt it was important. One of the reasons I coined the phrase "the original amendment," and there's a movement finally in the intellectual circles where they're talking about how the Declaration of Independence is our original amendment, because without the theory of property, life, liberty, and property, fruits of your labor, there is no need for the other 10 amendments. So there is a move on foot. So I thought, since I'm the one that coined it first, I better write a book and get it copywritten. So when they start talking about it, they can go, Oh yeah, there was this guy that started talking about that, and I started in 1988 is when I started doing my thing. I know it's taken a long time to get nowhere, kind of like you and your radio career.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. I told him the title of my book is going to be Always the Bridesmaid. Um, so well, very briefly, give us a brief overview of how you think the tax code should be. I mean, I like Donald Trump, who said you should be able to do your taxes on the back of a postcard. You already know ahead of time how much everything is going to be. It's everybody pays the same percentage, and that's that. Everybody pays the same percentage of their income, and you're done. And I kind of like that. But what is your theory? What do you like?
Well, if you look at the trend, even with Donald Trump, he did no tax on tips. That's the abolishment of an income tax. He did no tax on overtime, another abolishment of income tax. And you can see he's the income tax on Social Security. So you have three abolishments of an income tax theory. So why not follow the whole theory all the way through? Because you take the state of Florida has no income tax, Texas has no income tax. So the trend is going in the right direction. The problem is without the typical way of taxing is taxing citizens, and that's never enough money to cover our debt and budget, $7 trillion. So staying in the line of thought of a pay-as-you-go tax, like a national sales tax, again, that wouldn't collect enough money. So you'd have to, and this is a proven theory of taxes, the larger your tax base, the more taxes you can collect, the lower the rate. So mine is basically, it's a broad base of every sale of goods, services, and transactions, which means literally everything gets taxed. I know that sounds funny, but it's taxed at like a 0.5%, because when you take all the derivatives, stock market, our economy is massive. As a matter of fact, the last time I checked with a deep dive on AI, they said our total economy and transactions is over $250 billion. Well, simple kitchen table math says if you tax 1% of all the transactions, that's $10 trillion. Well, that's $3 trillion over what our $7 trillion liability is now. Plus, you have money left over to do things like funding Social Security.
Yeah. So the no tax on tips thing is great until you let's say you go to a bar and the guy owns a bar, he's the bartender, small little place, and so now no tax on tips. So he starts just charging you less for the drinks because he knows everybody's going to leave a big tip. Now it's all tips.
Oh no, I think it's plus 14th Amendment, was it fair and equal treatment under the law? I think it's still, what about people that can't take advantage of that tax, of no income
Right.
tax? So I'm just saying it's trending in the right direction of eliminating income taxes. That's my
Yeah.
only point there. Yeah,
And the people social go ahead.
yeah, no, I fundamentally disagree with that because it just looks like, and I trust me, I support Donald Trump, but it looks like someone trying to buy votes, because
Yeah.
the real tax savings of that, all that, it really is nothing in the scheme of
Yeah.
things. Yeah. So
And Lee points out that no tips expires soon. It's not permanent. And Democrats will let it expire because it's Trump's idea. If it was their idea, it would be fine. But because it's Trump's
right,
idea,
right.
that's the weird world we live in. Here, Yitzhak says, hypothetical query. I sell my house for $1 million. I have a 1% transaction tax in addition to all the other fees.
Yes, yeah, but you wouldn't have an income tax either. So you got to look at the offsets. Um,
Well, I think he's in Florida and he doesn't have income tax in Florida.
well, he has federal income
Oh,
taxes.
right, federal, right, federal.
Right.
Because in the people social, I know you're in Pennsylvania, right?
Oh, and I'm
You're where?
West Virginia,
Oh, West
mountaintop.
Virginia. Oh,
Yeah,
hold on.
here, Ben,
I
Ben,
gotta.
Ben T-shirt.
Oh, I couldn't see your t-shirt. If you
No,
step on my keyboard, I'm gonna have to kill you. He's trying to get to me, and he was gonna step on the keyboard and probably do something bad. I'm just looking at real estate transaction taxes, because in New Jersey we already have this, and this is what happens: is it starts at houses for $1 million. And then it all goes. In New Jersey, the real estate transactions are subject to various taxes, including the realty transfer fee, which imposed upon the seller based on the property's sale price. So, if additionally, capital gains from the sale of real estate are taxed as regular income with rates ranging from 1.5 to 10.75%, depending on the seller's income level. That's before you even get to the realtor fees and everything else. So in New Jersey, and if you leave the state, if you're moving out of state, they take that
Right.
tax just in case you don't pay it. They take it.
Yeah.
So it's insane the percentage of money that you have to, because in New Jersey, listen, everything's going. There was a house in our town here that went for over 500,000 over asking, because everybody's leaving New York, they're coming to New Jersey, they're paying cash, they're paying above asking price because they want to get the hell out of New York because of what they voted for, and then they come here and vote for it. But plus we have Netflix. We have Netflix 10 minutes from me. So it's just exploding, which is great if you want to sell your house. But then it's standard tax if you, for properties with a total consideration exceeding $350,000, the rates are as follows: 2.9 capital gains on top of it. So there are some people who, they sell their home, they're spending $300,000 now just for the tax that they have to pay, just for the transfer tax on that piece of property. So if you sell your home for $3 million, you're paying 3% in an additional tax. And this is what I have a problem with. These taxes start out small, like it's only going to be a sales tax or a tax on this or tax, like income tax in general was only going to be on the wealthy. And within a generation, everybody was wealthy.
Well,
You
the
know, AMT, everybody pays AMT now. You pay taxes and you paid everything you owe, but you didn't pay enough, so we're going to hit you with AMT on top of it because we're going to take more of your money.
well, this our tax system would be the only tax system, so that all the other incidental taxes, especially when I went to the state level, so it would be based on just one tax system. So there would not be property taxes. There wouldn't be any of the incidental gasoline taxes. It would all be rolled into one large tax, but at a super nominal rate, because at a quadrillion uh, total transactions, you can see the rate's going to. Matter of fact, one estimate said it could even get down to 0.25% if you factored in all the transactions, even the hidden trading transactions.
So, what's to prevent a state though from instituting their estate tax again, or a real estate transaction tax? What stops them from doing that?
Well, it has to be the citizens, unless you can make it an amendment to the Constitution. But either way, the problem is we're at $31 trillion in debt now, or is it 39 trillion? Ever how many trillions in debt? Either way, we're going to have to figure out a new tax system, because this tax system just doesn't work.
Yeah,
And and the massive debt we're amassing, who knows what's going to happen? It's pretty kind of scary, but who knows?
yeah.
I guess you could just dissolve your debt. The United States just decide to tell all the nations we borrow money from, sorry, we're not going to pay you back. I guess
Well,
that's
Trump's
probably
trying to write that. Trump's trying to write the ship about us paying for everything, and these
absolutely.
countries don't pay for their own defense. We pay for it, and we're going under. So, he's trying to write that ship. Art said, Queen, if you're going to be out on Tuesday, can you at least have the ITG host? He's going to be with me. I don't know how to tell you that, but he's going to be with me, and he's not big on doing stuff like this. This is not his lane. He's got a lot of things to do. Let's see. Scott parked his car. Great. Okay. Yitzhak, the amendment enshrined what was commonly known at the time. So we be back to any and all transactions being taxed at the 1% to 2%. That's massive paperwork for the little guys and gals.
No, not. It's done at the point of deposit on your deposit slip, and that's it.
Oh, so whatever you deposit in the bank in from your business, they take the money out right then and there.
Right. And it's a cash system, so you don't have any arrears, no collections, no delinquent taxes, no tax evasion. It basically eliminates 6,871 pages of laws. A little bit. It
Well,
eliminates,
the
eliminates the
tax
IRS.
I was going to say the tax accountants of America are not going to be happy.
Well, things change. The guy that
Yeah,
was the guy who's building horse buggies wasn't too happy with Ford either.
it's true, but I'm sure they have a very powerful lobby.
Actually, they're not the lobby. It's the other lobbies. It is the banking lobbies and the Wall Street lobbies who are going to really be against it.
Why?
Because right now, because of computer trading, there's billions of trades going every day. Every one of those trades would be subject to the transaction tax, which at that point it would be very nominal, but still you can see the resistance. Because what happens, the velocity, what we call the velocity of money, is so fantastic. It's just the transactions. I mean, there's literally billions of transactions a day going on Wall Street because of computer trading, and they're going to
Well,
be lobby against us.
okay, so let me ask you, if the IRS knows at the end of the day, every trade you've made, they know all your, they know all of what's in your 401k, they know what's in your IRA, they know what's in your stock portfolio, they know what you own in bonds, they know everything, right? Then how hard is that for them to just at that point send you a postcard, you owe this much money?
Uh, because I think it would be a lot more difficult than that. It's just like with when you fill out any kind of income taxes, even if you were doing a postcard, you still have to keep your basic records and think about those records of those trading algorithms. I mean, I can't even imagine the velocity and volume of transactions. It's
Mm,
but it does
yeah.
lead to just a lot of other things because what you pointed to was with property taxes. Everyone talks about our socialism, our DS, what the Democratic Socialist DSA, whatever.
The
Uh,
communists,
the
they're
com.
communists.
But
Yes.
when you talk about how much you pay in taxes already, some people are paying up to 50% of their income in taxes. I don't know how much more socialist you can become unless you take 99% of your page of all your earnings, which, by the way, the 16th Amendment does allow for 99.9% tax collection. There's no cap on the 16th Amendment, which, by the way, technically nullifies our Constitution because if you can't own income, you can't own property. So you're right back to square one.
Yeah. Well, I'm gaming it out, and my husband and I do this all the time. We're like, I may be dead by then, you know. So
Hopefully,
that's the way I'm looking at it. I could be dead
I'm
by
kidding.
then. Although
Yeah,
I will say the communists are hot on they're hot right now. So they work fast, those little buggers.
yeah.
Let's see. Ranger Sewer says, can you volunteer your services and accept tips?
Uh,
Sure, right?
I think technically you could, but I think there is a cap on how much tips you can deduct, though. I think there is, was it 15 or $20,000? So there is a limit.
Okay.
I
There
think
is a
there is.
limit.
Yeah,
Okay. Because people are going to find a way around it,
I'm sure they are. I mean,
right?
who's going to honestly write that down? Because if you get any cash payments at all, you just call it tips, especially like lawn guys.
Right. Listen, waiters, waitresses, you have to tip. First of all, the tipping culture's out of control. It's out of control. You poured me a cup of coffee and you poured some cream in it and you want me to tip you. Really? Like, I go to the grocery store now. I have to check out my own groceries. Nobody tips me. I had to check out myself. Nobody tips me. I didn't get a training class. I don't get invited to the Christmas party. I don't have benefits. Nobody talked about the vacation policy with me, but I got to work at the grocery store every time I go there now.
That's right. Well, anyway, your tips, that's just you doing your own job of redistributing your wealth.
No, I'm gonna take a chip tip jar with me the next time I go and just put it
Yeah,
right there on the counter and tell people they could tip me.
yeah,
I'll check out your stuff. Maybe I could do that. Maybe it's sort of side hustle at Aldi.
right,
I'll
exactly.
check that out for you. You gotta
That's
tip me though. Come on, I'll check that out for you.
great idea.
Stars.
Now, does Aldi still charge for bags?
Yes, but I do love my Aldi. We don't diss the Aldi. I love my Aldi.
No, I,
Buck
I spent
40, buck 45 for eggs, dozen eggs at Aldi. Can't beat
no,
Aldi.
I spent 6 months in Spain, and the Aldi there, you had to rent your cart, you had to buy
Yeah,
your bag.
25 cents.
Well, did you see the new commercial? Aldi's stopping renting carts. They're phasing that out.
Well, they do it here because people steal the carts. Because Aldi in America is usually in a lower income area. And if you don't, you put in it, you get your money back. So it's not like you don't get the money back. You put the quarter in and you pop and the cart pops out and the quarter stays in there and you do your shopping. When you go in, you plug it into the line. So you have to return it. So they don't have to employ someone to go chase them. So you have to return the cart if you want your quarter back. It's a brilliant system when you think about it.
No, my daughter loves Aldi.
I love it.
She
I
loves
love
it.
the only problem with Aldi, and we're honest, sometimes they get a really, really good product in, and then you never see it again. That's the problem with Aldi. It's very annoying. Like they had these really great stuffed peppers. They were so good. These little like appetizer stuff. They were so good. And my husband's like, "Where'd you get these?" I'm like, "Aldi." He goes, "Oh, I gotta go get some more." So he goes, "Okay." And of course, now we can't find them. They don't have them anymore. That's the problem with Aldi.
I'm kind of a Wegmans guy. I'm waiting for
Well,
him.
you bougie.
I'm waiting for him to put a nightclub in.
Yeah, you spend way more money on groceries than I do. I am all about the deal. Like if I see a shopping cart in Aldi and it's all the way down there, I will walk down there, I will get that shopping cart, I will put it in, I'll get that quarter.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I could spend 2 hours in Wegmans. It's an experience.
yeah, I don't even think I've been into Wegmans once and whole paycheck I don't go into at all because I don't like that at all. All right, Art says, what about just having a consumption tax? If you save or invest, which is great, you don't pay taxes. Everybody spends money.
Well, by consumption tax, that would just be a consumer sales tax. The
Right.
problem with that is that's what the fair tax proposes, but that tax ends up being around at the end of their plan. It's 30% sales tax. So you can see a 30% sales tax is problematic. Plus, it's not revenue, what they call revenue neutral. It only collects
Hmm.
about $3 trillion. So we go another $4 trillion in debt. But the idea is correct, though, going in the right direction. That's where the transaction tax is the ultimate consumption tax. It's like a gasoline tax. You only pay the exact amount of taxes of the uses of the infrastructure. For example, when you buy gas, you're paying for the exact amount of use of that road. Whereas you as an individual, you say you do $100 a month in gas versus a Federal Express truck, they're $10,000 in gas. So those taxes are directly proportionate to your exact infrastructure usage. Because taxes are really ultimately, before giving it away to foreign countries, is for infrastructure. So
Right.
it goes back to what you said earlier, Mary. If we had not been giving away so much waste, fraud, and abuse and money to foreign governments in the last 30 years, our national debt would probably be like 7 trillion, maybe 10 trillion. So that's how much
Yeah.
we've given.
Yeah, and listen, 100%. And Somalia is not going to be able to continue on without our money, without all that money being sent back.
Exactly.
Gregory said, if we pay for it, will you autograph it? I mean, the book.
I would, but I don't think my autograph's worth very much. But it would
Listen,
be
if
an,
someone's willing to
you
pay
know,
you for it, you take the money and run.
no, I would do it for free, but no, it would be my honor. But I'd probably, because all my books are sold through Amazon, so I'd have to mail you the autograph, and you have to tape it in the front page.
Oh, well, you can also go to the web page and and order the book, right?
No, no, no. I only sell through Amazon. I'm lazy. Yeah,
Right, but if they want it for free, you said they could get it for free through your web page, right?
yeah, but it's the PDF. It's a PDF.
Oh, it's a
It's
PDF. It's not the
yeah,
actual book,
it's
which
an
you can't. Oh, I got you. Can't autograph the PDF. I got you. All right. Okay. Suze, welcome to the show. Let's see. Are you seeing any impact from those fleeing New York City and the loss of revenue the city could face? As a matter of fact, they are.
yeah.
I,
Good.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I can maybe address this. Hold on.
They deserve it.
They do, but they're moving here, so just stop. I got New Yorker. We call them. Someone told me this phrase that they call them cityots.
That's a good one.
They're cityots. I'm like, I love that. I'm totally stealing it, but I have to say it was not my idea. Where is it? It's my show prep for tomorrow's show. Hang on. Let's see. Right here, New York Post. Manhattan's luxury real estate market plummeted after that, pied-à-terre tax went into effect. Only one home sold asking more than 10 million entering contract. Only one eight-figure plus home found a buyer between July 6th and 12th. 29 Manhattan homes priced at 4 million or more went into contract during the period. But normally, between 3 and 5 properties taxed at 10 million and upwards enter contract per week. One.
Well,
But
like they say, socialism works until you run out of everyone else's money.
well, the council members are voting themselves an 18% raise. They're boosting their own salaries 18%, retroactive to January 1st, because
That's good
they hate
communist.
rich people, but yet they want more. And it gives them an automatic 2% pay hike every year after that.
That's the communist way.
It is.
Sounds
DACA, I heard that
like,
DACAs are
sounds like
expensive. So.
capitalism. Sounds like
Yeah,
capitalism.
right? I know. Sal says, isn't it illegal to pinpoint specific groups for taxation purposes? If so, how does Ma'am Donnie get away with doing this? Well, I mean, it can't be illegal because how come people who don't have children pay more in taxes than people who get a child tax credit?
That's where I think we're cowards. I think if someone were to put together some litigation based on the 14th Amendment of equal punishment or equal and fair whatever under the law, taxes would definitely be a real interesting Supreme Court case because it doesn't make sense. What logic is it that a rich guy, person with more money, gets taxed more than a guy, especially if it's based on his income and his property, not based on his usage of infrastructure? Again, back to the transaction tax, where you're taxed only for the amount of infrastructure you technically use. And so, yeah, it's
And there are some people who pay no taxes and get refunds that on taxes they didn't pay.
well, that's a good point there. As a matter of fact, I call it a reverse income. If you take a family of four with their benefits, all the benefits they get receive, and plus not paying the taxes, a lot of they average out about $65,000 a year in non-paid benefits, a reverse income. So
Yeah.
even people that say they're poor, if they tap out the government, they a lot of times are making more money than the working guy. And the working, they call it some kind of cliff, the welfare cliff. So a guy at $75,000 in benefits pays no taxes, whereas you make $75,001, now you got to pay taxes. So again, picking winners and losers, the government is, and it's just the income tax system just doesn't make sense. I mean, it is totally one illogical group of laws.
Yeah. Well, Yitzhak talks about Social Security here. He says, I'm basically retired and on Social Security, but I have stocks. My long-term capital gains tax would go to 1 to 2%. That's a savings. So we had said we were talking about that because it looks like, Social Security is supposed to go bankrupt. They're going to they're going to start cutting what they give out by 70% in some cases. So they're only going to be giving out 70% of benefits going forward. But at the same time, they are set to hand out, where is it? The largest, what did I do with it? I lost it. Hold on. Oh yeah, they're going to get one of the largest COLAs coming up in 2027, cost of living advances or upgrades. What COLA? Cost of living adjustment, 3.8%. Now, people are like, well, that's not a lot of money. I have to, first of all, you're not supposed to be living off Social Security. If you're living off Social Security, that's not my problem. You had your entire life to avoid having to live on Social Security. All right. If you didn't plan it out, I'm sorry, but life is not fair. So that's the first thing. You're not supposed to live on Social Security. It is literally supplemental security insurance. That's what it's called. Supplemental security. All right. So that's what it's supposed to be. And I'm sorry if you have to live on Social Security and it's really hard to make ends meet. I'm sorry. But then you should have been nicer to your children. But they're going to get a 3.8% increase. And that's great. But we don't have the money. Right. The people who are going to pay that 3.8% increase, who aren't going to get a raise in their jobs, are going to be told when they get there, really sorry, but we spent all your money. And so you're going to get nothing. So people like my generation, Gen X, paid in our whole lives to this thing, which by the way, I thought was a scam from the get-go. And if they had given me the opportunity to opt out and put the money under my mattress, I would have taken it in a heartbeat, because I know I would have had way more money at the end of the day than what I'm going to get from Social Security. So I'm going to pay into it my whole life. When I get there, because I've been responsible and I've invested and done those things so that I didn't have to live on Social Security my whole life, they're going to look at me and go, so we means tested it, and yeah, you don't get anything. But that guy over there who went on a lot of vacations and lived way above his means, we got to give him your money. That's exactly what's going to happen. And in the meantime, they're just increasing it.
Yeah. Well, here's a little fact about Social Security that most people don't realize. When you pay your 7.5% on your paycheck, there's a matching 7.5% paid by the employer. That's
Right.
actually that's actually your money that you're not getting. That
Right.
7.5%. The owner is
Right.
that's just money that was yours that you didn't get, which
Yeah. So you're basically paying 15%,
you were paying
but they're going to
15%.
get a cost of living adjustment. But inflation just fell to the biggest decline in 6 years. What are they getting an increase for if inflation's falling?
No, it's just it doesn't make sense. What makes sense? Governments when it goes back to my little book, which is legislation that I say that costs no money. I think Washington's whole theory of legislation is how do we spend money? That's what they call legislation. It's
100%.
that it's not how do we fix things. Um, so, and that's the little book I have. It is all legislation that costs $0 legislation, which is part of the, you
Hold
know,
up your book again so people can see it and they can get the name if they need it.
yeah, it's on Amazon, but free for electric, 6 ways in 30 days to save America. And it says here, essential legislation the government does not want you to know.
There you
And
go. 6 ways in 30 days to save America.
yeah,
All
it's
right.
uh, this is a good one here. First time owners, homestead, put that public property, back to the United States. They talk about how Roosevelt did the national parks, and he did that to keep the land barons from scooping up all the land. So all he did is created the largest land baron ever, called the United States government.
Well,
Fun.
but now they let the Chinese do it. So
Oh yeah, but that's no. I think we need to go back to the homestead for startup for families who can do this Homestead Act. It's 5 years, stay on it, develop it. Give a lot of instead of welfare, instead of the giveaways. We got plenty of property that is really sitting there very idle. Uh,
Steve, I don't know how to tell you this, but Americans have become fat and lazy. Okay. They're outraged that they have to work 20 hours a week
right,
to
right.
continue receiving EBT. Okay. So 20 hours, and it could be volunteering. You could be with senior citizens finger painting and knitting. And if we're 20 hours a week or 20 hours a month, it's a month. And that's out of line. That's just too much for them. So we have a very entitled segment of the population from generation to generation. They don't work. They know how to work the system. And that's where all this fraud is coming in. They know how to do it all. Had they spent the same amount of effort and brain power on actually accomplishing something, they'd be billionaires. But they're too lazy to do that.
Well, I think when you think about you listen to all these talking heads talk about what are we going to do about socialism and communism, and it's like a half. Their argument's always the half empty glass instead of the half full. If we'd start teaching the true principles of John Locke, which is life, liberty, and property, not pursuit of happiness. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
virtue angle. As a matter of fact, if you read John Locke, pursuit of happiness means property, but it's property of yourself. You own yourself. What you make is yours. What you earn is yours. And we don't teach the original amendment. And if Republicans and conservatives would start teaching property rights in the original amendment versus the tyranny of taxation, communism, socialism, we're like a football team that is not doing our fundamentals to get back
Mm.
in shape. And to get America back in shape is we have to teach life, liberty. Estate is the real word from John Locke. estate, which means property, which means the fruit of your labors, which you own yourself, and the labor that you own is exclusively yours. And we don't teach that. And I think
Right.
fundamentally, that needs to be taught and preached day in and day out. So that way you can really compare. And then you go back to what you're saying, how lazy people are. Once people start realizing the value of property and what they can earn, life gets better. Life doesn't get worse. The communism thing of less, truly, less is more. That used to be a positive quote. Less is more.
Less
Now,
is more. Yeah.
now it's the reality. Less is more.
Yeah. So Trump is apparently looking at Australia's style of Social Security. What they do, it's a superannuation system. It requires employers to contribute 12% approximately of a worker's pay into a personal market invested retirement account that the worker owns outright. So it travels with you from employer to employer. I like that. And some people, because, I think maybe Trump has finally realized, or maybe because clearly Australia did, that people are irresponsible. And then they're going to come to the government to solve their problems because they were irresponsible their whole life and never saved for their retirement. So this is a way to save for them and force them to save. Like you're just going to learn to live on less. Like that's just the way it is. And we can all do it and you can whine and cry about it, but you'll figure it out. You'll go to Aldi. You'll get the quarter out of the shop. You'll walk over there to get the quarter out of the shopping cart and call it a day. Right, they say Social Security replaces only about 40% of pre-retirement income on average. The proposed accounts would supplement it, not replace it. So
Right.
this would be in addition, because what I think they're going to do then is slowly phase out Social Security.
Right. That would be the way to do it. Yeah.
Right,
I,
so that's
I
how they would do it.
yeah, I think people have been saying that for about ever since Social Security was started. That's how it should have been structured. So that's how bad it is that's how bad our government is. That they
Oh, it was a
just want.
Ponzi scheme. It was a Ponzi scheme the day it started. The very first person, Ida Mae Fuller, who collected out the money. She paid like $23 in, and she got out over her lifetime, like over like $150,000, whatever it was back in the day in those dollars. It was stupid. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was ridiculous.
Well,
They've told you can't give them your money, and I like the fact it doesn't give the government my money. It puts my money in an account like an IRA, 401k, something like that that the government is not responsible for, so they can't read it. So I like that.
if you live to be 85 with Social Security and you look at your return on your investment, the
Oh,
Social Security system is actually your best investment because I think by the time you're 85, you may have collected 150% of what you put in. So you wonder why it's going broke.
there you
No,
go. Well, and we also pay, and it was only meant for the person who put the money in. So
right.
when he or she died, that's it. The money was done. But now we have survivor's benefits for the spouse. Now it's survivor benefits for the kids, and we just expanded it. And then if you come here from another country and you become a citizen and you're 50 years old, you only pay in for 10 years.
Yeah,
You retire with full benefits at 65.
yeah,
Well, 67, right? Or maybe 72, but still,
yeah, yeah.
it's
But the
ridiculous.
originally the Social Security when they first started, it was 16 people paid in for every one person that received
Right.
benefit. Now it's I think it's two people pay in for every one person. So that's how much it's failed. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's not good. It's not good at
well,
all.
you got to figure out a
Let's
way
see.
to start reversing it. And I think phasing it out, and especially if you're in a good mutual fund, no one would complain about the mandatory 12% deduction because again, that's your pay, that's your money. They're just forcing the employer to take it out for you. I think
Right.
that's a plan.
Because people aren't responsible enough to do it themselves. Yitzhak
Right.
says, would
That
there be exemptions? Would there be exemptions like in estate taxes? The first 7.5 million is exempt.
I'm not. Well, what's he talking to? Referring to?
Well, for the transaction, Yitzhak lives in
Oh,
Florida. He's very concerned about selling his home clearly and having to pay a transaction fee on it because he got the hell out of New Jersey. So he'd have to pay the transaction fee now in Florida if you do what you're talking about. And you keep saying, yeah, but you're not going to pay income tax on a federal level. He's almost retired. He's probably not going to be paying a lot of income tax anyway. So to somebody like Yitzhak, this is a hard sell because now you're saying Yeah, but we're going to take a percentage of your house when you sell it. And he's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Well, and if it's not your first house sale, you got to pay capital gains if it's your second house. So 1% beats the hell out of capital gains.
Well, this is where he lives. This is his home.
Yeah, but if it's his first house sale, it's not taxable. I don't think, is it?
Well, if you sold it, so you're saying you get to sell one house in your life that's not taxable?
Yes, I think that's the law. I believe it
So if
is.
you move, if you downsize because you want to save money and you go to like a smaller retirement house, when you sell that to go into the home, you have to pay taxes on capital gains on it?
I don't know how the IRS would look at that.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's a house. I'm selling my house. I'm going into the home. I'm
Well,
selling my
but
house.
technically, if you sell your first house, you're not. I don't think you pay taxes on the first house sell.
Well, I understand the state of New Jersey will make me pay taxes. This is the only house we've owned, so I will be I will be paying
I'm speaking
taxes.
federally.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's see. Can I have Oliver host on Tuesday? Let's see. I'm gonna have to be a neighbor about it. You all so let's see. So if you move money around from bank to bank, you'll be taxed again on the money?
No, it's anything that's inside your own personal account. That's not. No, that's exempt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Doug says work for cash and don't deposit it in the bank. I guess the answer is to get rid of cash then.
Yeah, because
So
it's
the
a trans.
government can track, then the government can track all your transactions, which is what they want to do.
Yeah, there is a couple laws that'd be called malicious tax fraud, but you still think about this because you're doing transactions. When you go to spend your money, you're at least paying taxes when you're spending your money.
Right.
They
Right.
take
But
cash.
I can see people doing stuff on the down low under the table, so that
Yeah,
nobody knows about this.
yeah, but 99% of the people have bank accounts. Most people are. Plus, it's so nominal. You got to remember, a paradigm shift would be it'd be a tax that you'd be proud to pay because you're paying for your share of the infrastructure. I mean, it's kind of
Right.
like you got to get the patriotic head in the game. So it's a good tax, but it's hard to have a good tax when the government's wasting so much of your money. You know
Yeah.
that
Yitzhak says a deposit. Yitzhak clearly is using you as his financial advisor right now. A deposit into a business account of cash infusion from a sole proprietor. How would that not be subject to a deposit tax?
because it's within it's all part of your own accounts. As long as
Right.
you're within your own accounts, you don't pay a transaction tax. What you'd call an less than arm's length distance concept.
Right. Let's see. Cash is king, and if we get a central bank digital currency scam, we are tracked. Anonymity is gone, and will crypto get the tax? Of course, crypto will get the tax. They already know if you have crypto. You have to declare it on your taxes now. They already know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
crypto's
again,
gonna be taxed.
you make the tax so practical that it doesn't become an issue. It's a nominal tax. It's just like right now with a sales tax, like in states. Think about it. The most unfair tax, one of the most unfair taxes, is a consumer sales tax, which affects poor people more than anyone else. So if you make 15,000 a year and you're paying 7% on all your goods because you're spending every dollar that you make, you're paying 7%. Whereas someone making 100,000, proportion of that 7% is a lot lower. But at that 7%, no one is complaining about that. No one is really complaining about sales tax, even at the high rate of 7%. Some states 10%. No one, poor people aren't even complaining about paying a sales tax, which shows you fundamentally the system is going in the right direction. A consumer sales tax, a pay-as-you-go tax, is people like that because they have the option of buying and not buying. In other words, I can pay taxes when I want to pay taxes,
Right.
when I want something, versus if I
All
save
right.
money, I don't.
Lots of questions. If the Russians or China use cyber warfare to disrupt computer run trading, who will repair the disruption of those millions of trading activities?
I think Wall Street's got that. Yeah, I don't know because
I hope.
that's out of
Yeah.
my expertise, but I think Wall Street's got that buttoned up pretty tight.
All right, Gregory, these stock transactions, what entity is going to interface with the transaction to levy the appropriate sum?
Because of the technical side of that, I'm not sure, but I know if you go look into the volume of trading that's done electronically, it'll just blow your mind. And You got to think about this too. We're the landlords. The citizens are the landlords of the nation. People that are making money off of the citizens, the landlords, like especially Wall Street, has no sales tax associated with practically anything they trade. So just look at they talk about the fairness side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the landlord, us, we're paying the rent for Wall Street and the insurance and the water and the sewer. So they basically get free infrastructure to work under, which I don't think that's fair either, especially if it's a for-profit entity. I mean, totally for-profit entity. I mean,
Right.
there's just it's the big casino where everyone there is playing to make money. They're not paying to help people or do
Yeah.
anything charitable. So I think there's some philosophical things you have to consider of fairness. You know, landlords
Well, my
should.
mother always used to say to me, life isn't fair, and I've come to learn that I am a payer in this life. I am not a payee. I get nothing for my tax dollars, basically. Yitzhak says my granddaughter has a toy Aldi cart, even has fake quarters, teaching the young that nothing is free. Good. You got to
That's right.
start soon.
Thing
Suze
called
loves Aldi. Ranger Sue says Aldi mac and cheese is the mother. I did not like the stuff in the black box, the Aldi mac and cheese in the black, the specialty brand. I didn't love that. What am I missing, Ranger? What am I missing?
you
Because it
got to
looked really good, and I was like, it was okay.
you got to add bacon. You have to add bacon.
Yeah. Sue says I could spend 2 hours at Wegmans, but I don't buy a lot there.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't. I know where. Do I know where I know where whole paycheck is. I don't know where Wegmans is. I don't even know where Wegmans is.
Good thing because you'd get hooked. You'd be
No, I
hanging.
wouldn't because
You'd
no,
be,
because I go into these stores and I say I am not spending this kind of money on this. This is ridiculous. No, I'm not doing it.
you could do a live feed broadcast there.
No, I like being in my home. I have on shorts with a very nice top that I wore all day for my TV hits with my shorts. And no, I like being here. It's very peoply out there. People are annoying. I don't want to, why would I want to be around people to do this? No, no. You know what I do? I do like, we have a store near us here and I've talked about it before. And I was against it because it's a little pricey, but I'm totally into it now with certain things, not everything, because it is pricey. It's called Uncle Giuseppe's because in New Jersey, when New York, New Jersey, to a certain extent, Philadelphia, chain restaurants don't do well. We are the people who still go to the butcher. I know where there are 3 butchers. I have to go to the butcher on Thursday to get the brats and the hamburgers for our trip. Like we don't buy those things at a grocery store. We go to the butcher. And like I said, I know where there's 3 different butchers within 15 minutes of me. So we go, I know where the cheese store is. If you want fish, you can go to the fish store. Like that, we just shop the old fashioned way because that's just the way, because like Uncle Giuseppe's, it's from Brooklyn and it's so good. It's so good. They got the guy there making the mozzarella fresh. Like there's a lot to be said for fresh mozzarella. Now, if I'm baking, I use the polio, but if it's like you're eating it, like the fresh mozzarella, it's
Yeah.
really good. And they have an oven right there and they're making the pizza and the sandwiches are insane. These Italian sandwiches. And then on Wednesdays, Saturdays, one of the days, they have a guy in a tuxedo singing songs, singing like, Volare and stuff like that. And when you walk in, as soon as you walk in, you Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, it's all playing. They got amazing breads. They've got it's just they have an entire wall of olives. It's an entire Florida wall of olives, all these different kinds of olives. I never knew there were so many different kinds of olives. So their cheeses are very expensive, so I don't necessarily buy my cheeses there unless it's something I can't get somewhere else. But like their strombolis and their all that stuff is to die for. So it's a little bit of a different culture here. So that's probably why I don't know where Wegmans is, because we tend to now other people of course aren't like that, but I don't know, we just tend to go to the specialty stores if you want the good stuff.
No, there's nothing like a good Italian deli. I mean, Tampa and St. Petersburg, Florida, we have a huge Italian deli. I mean, it's packed all the time. It's
Yeah,
great.
because of all the people, all the Italians from New York moved to New Jersey, pushed the Italians from New Jersey down to Florida. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh, it's been happening.
I'm waiting.
Let's
I'm waiting for Fox News to move their operation to Florida.
They might as well. I got to go to Publix for perishables, some non-perishable, at Walmart or Dollar General. our Walmart is 30 minutes away easily, and it's in a not so great part of town. And I don't have time for a fight. So I try not to go there very often. Or if I do go, I go with my husband because it's not in a great area. And Dollar General, the dollar store went out of business here. The Dollar Tree, gone.
Yeah, well, Dollar General. Hey, you
Gone.
want to hear a fun fact about Publix? It is the largest employee-held company in the United States, and it is the model of the modern business. I had a friend that was a butcher at Publix. I think he was making 40,000 a year. By the time he got his dividend check, I think some years he was making 70 to $80,000 a year as a butcher.
Wow.
Yeah. So Publix, you talk about capitalism and versus socialism. That's the kind of thing that keeps capitalism, I mean communism, out of our society. Is like a robust employee-owned company like Publix. But Publix
There
are
you
great.
go.
We did all the. Have you ever been to a Publix? Oh, they're fantastic.
They're
They're
only
like,
like in the South, right?
yeah, like mainly Florida. Yeah,
I have a super shop right here. So go to my
yeah, but
super shop.
Publix is like the brightly lit Wegmans now. They've kind of adapted that massive
Okay.
lifestyle grocery store.
I could be wrong, but I just don't see people in this area going to a grocery store to hang out. Like I got a lot to do. I don't have time. Like maybe like in areas like Florida where there's like a lot of senior citizens who got nothing else to do and they can go sit and have a nice cup of coffee and maybe they'll see a friend in the grocery store. Here it's like I gotta go. I gotta get in. I gotta get out. I got stuff to do. So I don't know. Also, real estate up here is tough to find. So to build something, that's like they're talking about, like, oh, we don't have I've never been to a Buc-ee's. I'm like, where the hell are you going to build a Buc-ee's in New Jersey? We don't have that kind of land here. Like, where are you going to put something that big?
No,
And
everyone's
and in
raving
New
over.
Jersey, we don't pump our own gas. So they'd have to have attendants for all of those pumps.
So have you been to? I've never seen a Buc-ee's. Everyone's talking about them. No, they're supposed to be like mega gas stations.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
They're huge. Like
I
120 pumps. But again, you would have to have like there's not the land around here for that, number one. And number two, like I said, you'd have to have all of those attendants to pump the
no.
gas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You guys got the
It's the
gas.
one
No,
thing keeping me here. It's the one thing keeping me here because I don't
no,
pump my own
no,
gas.
have to pump gas. Yeah, that's funny.
It's the nicest thing in the world. The rest of the country has no clue. They laugh at us. You people have no clue what you're missing. When it's super hot, like today it was 91 degrees, I didn't have to get out of the car. You know what though? I gave him $1. I tipped him $1. Thank you for pumping my gas. There you go. When it's
That,
raining, snowing, super cold, I don't have to get out of the car. I can get car at 2 o'clock in the morning and feel totally safe. No one's
that,
gonna carjack me. Nobody puts the little card skimmers on the pumps because there's a guy there all the time. So I don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
do they still use the credit card slip machine? Just kidding.
You're just jealous and it's ugly. Transaction tax punishes the middle and working class the most.
Actually, it's totally fair because you only pay taxes when you spend money on infrastructure. So everyone's got to pay their fair share. I mean, hate to say it that way, but you spend $100, you pay what, $1 in taxes. You spend $1 million, you got to spend $10,000 in taxes. So it's exactly proportionate to your usage of infrastructure.
I like it.
Yeah.
That part of it I do like. Sheila is here. Hello, Sheila. Let's see. 1 to 2% tax would encourage day trading, even short-term gains. Yeah, you still have to pay
Oh,
on short-term gains, right?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at it from that point of view. It's hard to say. I don't know that. I don't have to do a deep dive on that one.
Okay. This guy, 2026 is new here. And he said, you're wrong. Foreign aid was a tiny sliver and paid us back in soft power, something conservatives can't compute.
I don't know. I have to do a deep dive on foreign aid and
Yeah,
see
if
how.
you'd like to put like a link up here for us, we'd be happy to look
No,
at it.
no,
Thanks.
I'd like to.
2026.
I'll run the numbers on that because if we give any foreign aid at all, unless it's for national security, it's too much. So
Yeah. Lots of mansions vacant on the east end of Long Island, out in the Hamptons. Oh.
yeah, a buddy of mine just bought a house in New York, and he got a real good deal.
Well,
He,
yeah, because
he's
everybody's moving
he's
out.
one of those guys that bought a house.
I love this. Here you go. Mamdani balanced the budget in New York City. That's so not true. They took money from the state in order to balance the city budget. They took it from people who don't even live in the city to balance the budget. So that's not true. Here, I'll even show. Did Mamdani balance the budget?
No, the blue city problem is really a real problem. All these great cities, you know, what they the Florida budget compared to the New York City budget. I forgot, it was like 2 to 1. New York
Yeah.
City's budget was twice as high as the whole state of Florida's budget.
Yep. All right, here's how he did it. He utilized 6.1 billion in one-time things that he could use and short-term savings, along with securing significant state aid and some cost-saving initiatives. It allowed him to close a projected $12 billion budget gap without raising property taxes or cutting services. But this one-time $6.1 billion maneuver, he can't do again. He got $28 billion in financial support from the state. So in other words, the rest of the state that's not socialist is now having to support the city that is socialist. So that's how he did it. Cost savings initiative were only 1.7 billion. 28 billion in state aid and 6.1 billion in these short-term savings that he got to use. So the bulk of it, the 28 billion, was from the people in the rest of the state who don't live in New York, who they had to pay, are now paying to support the socialist program in New York. So I don't know how long that's going to go on, but I say that all the time, man, Daddy, balance the budget. I'm like, no, he didn't. It's a great talking point, but it is not true. All right. I want to talk lastly about, I know we're running out of time here. Can we tax the people who live in New York City and walk on the sidewalks, make them wear an easy pass? Oh, I love this. So this guy's really anti. I love when someone who's liberal calls conservatives Nazis, because they were running a guy with a literal Nazi tattoo. I'm like, you kind of traded in your Nazi card when you ran a guy and made excuses for his Nazi tattoo. Sorry, that's gone. So let's talk about energy. You involved in energy now. What's going on?
Well, energy is a huge problem in the United States now, and mainly the data centers are causing a lot of the usage of power. For example, in Virginia now, um, Amazon has proposed a data center that is going to require half a gigabyte, half a gigabyte of power, and they're theoretically going to use the miniature nuclear power plants, but still
What could
that takes,
possibly go wrong?
yeah, what could possibly, not to mention it takes 3 to 4 years to build one of those. So my that side of the energy coin, which is a real problem, it's actually turned into a large battlefield for cities, um, because of the way those data centers are taking power from the citizens. So now there's initiatives to build what they call behind the meter, off the grid. It's called Section 48, where the federal government is actually subsidizing through ITCs and the RECs and the DCs. It's all these different government incentives for people to build their own power plants. And so what I've done is the company Mavericks Energy, we've developed technology where we call it amorphic materials, basically tires and plastics, and we put them in our reactor, and our reactor is anoxic. In other words, it bakes and it doesn't create emissions. And we also put a heat chiller and an absorption chiller and a heat exchange on top of it for free AC. So we're doing our little part, but the real problem with power is the data centers are really causing a real problem. But But the real problem I think data centers are going to have is technology always gets smaller, and they're building real big right now. So I got a feeling 5 years from now, there's going to be a lot of obsolete data centers. It's kind of a weird thing. It doesn't even make sense, these data centers. It really logically doesn't make sense. Um,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's kind of not a good thing, but the federal government is all behind it. Yeah, if you really get into the weeds on AI, there's only so much information the world has, and AI now has technically captured all that information. So the only thing left to do is probably take AIs for robotics, for manufacturing. So I think that's where they're trying to automate as much stuff as they can, which doesn't make sense because why do you want to displace people? People got to work. You got to do something. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it.
That's
But it
what it's
doesn't make
for.
sense in the big picture. So
I'll be dead.
yeah,
And Kathy Hochul is said no more. She's no more data centers in New York.
right. That's
She
right.
said no more, no more.
Well, and
Global
yeah, some things they're right about. They're a real strain on the local power plants and power companies. Yeah.
Global data center electricity consumption is projected to surge 26% this year, reaching 565 terawatt hours as AI workloads pushed power demand to unprecedented levels. I know
Yeah.
someone who made a lot of money by selling their farm to a
Oh
data
yeah.
center.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but there are solutions that are coming about. But the federal government does this thing called the Genesis Project, where they're
Hmm.
trying to figure out alternative ways of creating power. But right now, the Genesis mission is nothing but another bridge to nowhere. Another government, talk about government programs. That's what we need, another government program. That's what,
Exactly.
that we didn't talk about. No, just kidding.
I like this. I would like to see, Gwen says, I would like to see the federal budget in a bar graph showing the smallest department on the bottom and building until the total reaches the income from all sources. Then any expenses more are debt.
Yeah, that would be good. I'll have to work on these. I have to take some notes because I'm going to have to up my game on graphs and charts.
People like pictures. That's why
Yeah.
USA Today was always given to you in the hotel because people like pictures.
Well, you want to talk about the graph you want to see is this is readily available is the income that you make and the taxes you pay. And after that 50% mark, 50% of the population practically pays no taxes, no income taxes. Let me be clear. They do pay
Right.
sales tax and property taxes and so forth. But the other half, so you get up to the top 5%, and it's like 87 or 75% of the taxes
Yeah.
are
Are
collected
paid by
by
them.
that many people. So it's like this. No,
Yep.
so that's a good bar graph that you want to see. And people go, rich people don't pay their fair share. They're practically paying all of it.
I know, but they don't
How
want to
much
hear
they're
that because
yeah,
they want to take it because they know better. They believe that they're the smartest people in the room because they're educated. You look at the people who won in New York, the communists who won in New York, these little kids. And I say little kids because some of them are in their 30s, but they're so naive. They don't
yeah,
work. Mamdani doesn't work. What job has Mamdani ever had? He's a little nepo baby. A lot of them are. A lot of them have one of them, her father is a plastic surgeon and owns like all this land out in California, wherever they are. And she's in her sixth year of her doctorate at Columbia. And one of them was a lawyer, but she got in trouble and lost her job. So she's like slinging coffee or doing whatever and has $250,000 in student loans, but they want to run for us because they're going to tell us how to run, how to spend. But they're going to decide how to spend the money. They've never worked. They're
no,
all, they've been banking at the bank of mommy and daddy,
no.
and it's
The Mondami, I can't even say his name. That is a phenomena that he is the mayor of one of the largest cities in the world. That is
it's what happens when you
totally,
don't vote. How many people didn't vote?
that's terrible. No, and and people don't think about this, but the most valuable thing you really own in America is your vote. And we treat it like,
100%.
it's like, oh, so what if 10,000 people vote illegally? I mean, they're robbing you of your own
Hmm.
value. And again, we don't teach these things. I mean, we don't break things down where people see the value in their vote. They take it for granted.
Yeah. I think this is being tied to Social Security. Joe says, no wonder Fauci was trying to kill us. People are living longer today.
No, I don't think it was meant to be. I don't think they expected us to live this long.
Wow. Ron, as of yesterday, I've been retired for 25 years. Holy crap. I'm not going to live long enough to be retired 25 years.
Well, hopefully you got your return on investment on your Social Security.
Well, he retired from Bell Labs, so I think he had a pretty sweet retirement package.
Yeah.
Because back in the
Oh,
day, you got a really sweet retirement package.
well, see, I'm 70 and I'm still working. So I guess if you retire at 55 or something, I don't even think about people that retire that young. So maybe
I,
you retired young. I don't know.
yeah, no, I don't know. Um, can you sell a home to a business you own and not pay all the exit taxes in New Jersey? I don't know. You still pay the transfer tax, but the exit tax is the capital gains that you would owe to the state of New Jersey, and they're afraid you're not going to pay it if you leave the state. So that's their excuse for taking it out of the sale of your home, because they're afraid that and they hold it for you, and make the interest off of it that you don't make. I mean, that's all it is it's a big scam. Um, I originally thought, because somebody told me there was a way you could do it where if you want to move out of state, you sell, but you go to like rent a apartment for 6 months in New Jersey, or a small home, whatever, and you're going to another Jersey address, then you don't pay one of the taxes, and then when you leave there, if it's a rental, they don't know where you went, and you're gone. But somebody said that that's not true. They hold the money. So listen, they're not going to let you get out of this state because Democrats don't want you taking your money with you because they know how to spend it better than you. Cindy, I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this. He's not an actuarial or anything. I was told that it is better to draw your Social Security at the earliest age because the amount you collect outweighs the increase of waiting. Is this true? Depends on how long you live, right?
Well, when I ran the numbers, that I think she's fundamentally correct because I did a spreadsheet on them, and it did come out to me seeming like you make more money. They're taking it earlier if you live long.
If you live right, but if they cut it in 2030 or whatever, if they cut it 77%, you're already making less. So if they cut it down, if they cut it 30%, so you're only getting 70%, your cut is going to be that much. Whereas someone who waits till like 72 to take it, they're going to get full ride.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah, you need to do a spreadsheet on it. I haven't checked 72. I checked, was it 65 to 68 or something? You get, maybe, is it 72 now? Did they change the law? Because
no, it depends on when you were born.
Okay.
Anyone born up
Yeah,
until and including 1960, I think it's
right.
62.
That's what it
But
is.
after that, it's what, 65?
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, it should really be 67. I mean, who are we kidding? Most people work well into their 60s. The only people who don't work into their 60s are people on the government pension, who work for the government, who
Yeah.
made better
Yeah.
money than those of people paying their pensions, who got paying their salaries. They got better pensions than the people paying for the pensions, and they got better health care than the people who are paying for their health care. So my father said, work for the government. And I said
That,
no, and
that,
he said
that's
yes.
that's one of the pieces of legislation is people that like the senators and congressmen that they're in for 1 or 2 years who get their full ride. It's commensurate. They don't get a full ride unless they've spent 15 years as a government servant. So if
There
you
you
get
go.
like like you're a senator, you're only there 6 years. It's commensurate to 6 years only. You don't get the full ride.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yitzhak said third house at this point, singles selling first house is 250 is exempt. Then all
Yeah.
else, okay. Married,
Yeah.
they get 200. All right. All right. We're getting out of here because we are over time and I have 2 shows to prepare for tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be in for David Webb, 9 to noon. And then I'm on PHT from 3 to 6. I do not have TV as of right now. And then and then Thursday I'm on with Chris Salcedo at 9:30 on his radio show. So see you there. I don't know where Rebecca is. She's a big Chris Salcedo fan. She's not here. And then I think that's it. And then next week I'll still do TV. I'm going to be on vacation, so I'll do some TV. There will not be a podcast unless something earth-shattering happens. There is no podcast. We have a bunch of Italians coming with us, one of whom doesn't speak English, so that could be an interesting podcast.
Hey, by the way, who won? Who won the soccer? I didn't watch the soccer game today. Who won today?
I have no idea.
Since you
I
talked
don't
about
know.
European stuff, Italians.
Yeah, no, I don't know. And cheese club mac and cheese. I'll have to look for it. At Aldi? No, I don't know anything about that. All right, we're out of here. I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of the comments and questions, but thank you so much for all your comments and questions. Thank you. Steve, thank you so much for joining me. Now I got to get rid of this thing. How do I get rid of this up here?
It's been fun. It's been a good one. Thank you for letting me.
Thank you so much. And you can get the book. You want to hold it up again?
Yeah.
One more time. Get the book. There you go. 6 ways in 30 days to save America. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me. And have a good rest of your week. Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And like I said, I will be back. It'll be August. Oh my gosh, August already. This is flying. It's crazy. It's just insane how this is flying. But yeah, August. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. And I will see you then, and I'll see you on TV somewhere along the line. Everybody stay safe, be good, don't embarrass me, and go get your quarters out of the carts at Aldi. Goodbye.